Okay, Dan, I have another one. So this is a husband reaching out asking for some advice after he reacted poorly to discovering some erotic reading that his wife was doing. So he's turning to us for some help and some guidance on navigating the aftermath of what happened. So he says, Dan, I wish I started listening to your podcast before I made a huge mistake. I found years worth of books on my wife's Kindle with very graphic, explicit novels involving group sex. I kind of flipped out and became very insecure. That's when I found you. We still have sex, and it's been great thanks to some of your counsel. But when I confronted her, she felt that I shamed her, and she's right. I didn't understand that fantasies are just fantasies. Now I do. Since I confronted her, she's closed off to talking about sex. I'm sure she's afraid of getting shamed and guilted again, or afraid of my reaction to what she might tell me. I want to repair the damage I caused and be open with her, and her with me. I want to be free to talk about what we want, including all the dirty fantasies. How can I initiate this? Or at least get the ball rolling in the right direction?
All right. So, what I'd say to this man is she's not safe opening up about her fantasies now since her interaction with her, in which she felt shamed. But
Mm.
frankly, she probably didn't feel safe before either. That's probably why she wanted to keep it hidden from you. Like, she didn't want you to find out about her graphic novels on her Kindle, probably. Um, and she didn't want you seeing them. So, there's that component. There wasn't safety before, and there's definitely not safety after. And for some people, they don't want to share their sexual fantasies with their spouse, right? They're afraid that if they share them, they'll be judged or evaluated for them. So it's safer to keep our fantasies to ourselves and not share them with our spouse. It could also be that they feel insecure about their own fantasies, regardless of how trusting and shame free you could be. In other words, it could be nothing to do with you, and she may still not want to share her fantasies just because fantasies by nature, some of them just make us feel really insecure. I remember I did an exercise, must be 4 years ago, where I set a timer for 10 minutes and I just wrote free writing without filter and what my sexuality wanted. And a lot of my fantasies came out in that. And I was a little shocked with what was coming out, right? If I don't give myself a filter, what do I want to do sexually? When I was finished, I had a decision to make. Do I share this with my wife or do I burn the paper? And I've been there. It's really hard to share this deep part of ours because some of it feels a little dark, some of it feels a little we just don't know how it'll be accepted. So oftentimes there's just insecurity around sharing fantasies. Now, demanding that your spouse shares her fantasies with you, demanding that, like if my wife were to demand that she reads my paper, that won't put us in a good place. I have to want to be willing to share, or at least part of it with her in that situation. So, you gotta take this delicately and with a great deal of respect. And I think pushing the issue will drive things further. So that's one piece of this that I see. There's more, but I want to hear your thoughts, Caroline.
Yeah, well, I agree. The more you push something, the more that it could actually push it away
Hmm.
instead of push into it.
Hmm.
And I like that he's taking accountability for what happened in the situation. He recognizes that the way he responded wasn't how he'd respond now, the information he has. And I think giving himself grace, realizing he's different person now than he was then. And that although he's a different person now, his wife needs to maybe hear that clearly from him. So when he's trying to get the ball rolling on a conversation or connect with his wife, I think he might need to hear him say, hey, I know when I learned about those books the first time, I reacted really poorly and I shamed you for them. And I am so sorry that happened. I would go back in time and change it if I could, but I can't. I have a completely different perspective now. I'd love to talk with you about it and come from that approach to his wife.
It's about the relationship repair, right? Really
It's
working on the
about,
repair.
yes,
Yeah.
working on repairing because you can't go back in time,
Mm-mm.
but you can move forward and you can work on that repair. And although you've already taken accountability, it might be good for her to hear it again
Hmm.
and start building that trust. Like you said, it sounds like there needs to be some trust there. She needs to feel safe there. And he could even say, hey, look, I'd love to work towards being able to talk more openly about sex and about these things. What do you feel like you need in order to get to that point of feeling comfortable? And how can I help? Like that could be really beneficial. That's why I love coaching because it helps couples learn to communicate tough situations like all the ones we've talked about today.
Yeah. One last thing I would say to this is a really good opportunity to examine other aspects of your relationship that might need a deeper look. This experience finding these things on our Kindle has exposed something that you may not have recognized in your relationship. So, in other words, this trial you're going through is a gift, if you look at it that way, in exposing other areas or shining a light in other areas in your relationship that need attention. For example, are there areas in your relationship where you take a judgmental or critical stance at your wife's preferences when they're different from you? Or even non-sexual preferences, right? Or is there a space where you can work on appreciating your differences as a couple and focus on cherishing her for her unique individuality rather than wishing she'd conform to be more like how you want her to be? If you have a question, you can go to getyourmarriageon.com, click on resources and anonymous question. That comes to me, and we will do our very best to address those in upcoming podcast episodes, email newsletters, on our Instagram or Facebook groups, wherever you can find us. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, or even comment below, and go see what other wonderful videos we have that will help you strengthen your marriage intimately.